Hey guys, I'm doing a bunch of framing, so I thought I'd show you guys how to do some layout for stick framing. You know, 2 foot on center layout. That's what I do for exterior walls. In other words, the studs are 2 feet apart, 2 foot on center layout. And then the interior partitions, I do them 16 on center. The reason why the difference is because the exterior walls, I want to add more insulation. So if we're 16 on center, there would not be as much insulation, right? Because there's more studs. So 2 foot on center works fine for exterior walls. So what you gotta do is to lay it out. Basic layout is basically you're gonna burn or cut back or measure back half the distance of the stud. So say the stud is 3/4 inch and a half thick, half the distance is 3/4, right? And the reason for that is because if you just took off and went, we'll say on a 16 on center, just mark 16, well then when you would come to the end of the stud, when you go to drywall it, your drywall would be flush here, and then you're going to put the next sheet on, and you would miss the stud, right? So that's why you have to go back 3/4, if you can see that, so it centers on the stud. So yeah, so it's basically a 15 1/4, so that's back from 16. The tapes are marked at intervals, 32 inches, and back 3/4 is 31 1/4. And so on and so forth. It's all the same. They're all burned back or cut back 3/4 of an inch. And same thing if you're on a 2 foot on center, you would do the same thing, because big sheets of drywall and plywood, being 4x8 or 4x12, come out on a 16 center interval or a 2 foot on center interval, right? So that's how that works. Now let's move on to doors. This is a 3/0 door I'm framing. And you basically put you snap lines down first in the floor, and then you put down your plates, you know. And I like to cut my doors out ahead of time. So this door is cut, and this is going to be a 3/0 door, meaning 3 foot 0 inches. And what you want to do, you want to frame them big enough to accommodate the door jamb. This is called the rough opening. So the rough opening is 3 foot 2, because you've got a 3/4 jamb on that side and a 3/4 jamb on this side. So you basically add 2 inches, and then it leaves a 1/4 inch on each side to actually plumb up the jamb. And I don't know, what else can I tell you guys about this stuff? You try to use straight material as best as possible, and then you mark it. I just use the marking. I go by K for king stud. This is the king stud, and T for trimmer. And there'll be a sill that goes on top of this. Now the door header sill will wind up being even longer. So you don't want to cut it to 3 foot 2, because then it's not going to be able to nail down on the trimmers. The trimmers are basically 1.5 inches thick, so that means you add 3 inches because there's 2 of them. So you would add, you know, the 3 foot 2 and then plus 3 for both trimmers, and that makes it 3 foot 5 if it's a 3/0 door. So basically it's the door size plus 5 inches. Here's an example of exterior wall. Of like, here'd be the trimmer, see that? And then here's our sill up here, bearing on top of that. We had to shim this one, looks like. Here's a king stud, trimmer, header. So yeah, that's it. I guess I could show you some other things about framing, but basically that's the idea behind stick framing, which is a really efficient way to build houses. So anyway, you guys have a good day. Take care. Bye.